Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, like and subscribe. I know you wanna. So everyone has been wondering where Carrington has gone since the whole Raven situation came out a few months ago. But it was clear that Carrington was kicked out of Jake Webber's house. Whether he was kicked out or Carrington planned to move out, we don't know, probably never will know. Ever since then, it seems like Carrington's just been like sofa surfing around the world. He originally moved in with his friend called Chase Keith, which was the old trap house apparently. Everyone could tell this from Carrington's TikToks that he was posting at the time. It was clear in the background that it was the old trap house, which is where his friend Chase now lives. So he was clearly living with Chase at the time. But then after that, I would say around April, mid-April, end of April, Carrington has been seen in a music studio, and he seems to just be living in a music studio now. But I believe it was still in America around California because Carrington was still doing events, like he was doing a Taco Bell live event, which Jake Webber was also at as well. They're both at the same event, but did not interact with each other at all, at least online. And then Carrington obviously was at this year's Coachella. So he still was near enough to go to these events happening around California. I believe Coachella's in California, Palm Springs. Is that California? Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm wrong there. I don't know. So what's happened most recently? Carrington has released a TikTok saying that he's now in Japan. He is now living in a music studio in Japan, focusing on making new music there. I think he's done that very recently because he was just at Coachella. So I guess he's now just moved off to Japan to do his music there instead. I don't know, maybe to find more inspiration in Japan. I don't know. Now, did you guys peep on that TikTok that he done of him being in the Japan music studio? He done some little sentences being like, Carrington is homeless, Carrington's this, blah, 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 like everyone's talking about him, whatever. Every single one of those titles is what I've titled my YouTube videos about Carrington. So I wonder, I could not help but wonder if maybe Carrington's watching my channel. Crazy. Because honestly, guys, I feel like my videos don't do that well. Like maybe a few thousand views if I'm lucky, you know? But I do know if you type in Jake Webber, Johnny Gilbert and Carrington's names into YouTube, some of my higher viewed videos do come up. But anyway, if you're watching, hey Mr. Swag Nightmare. One thing I could not help but notice, though, in a lot of Carrington's videos and people who are making videos about Carrington, mainly on TikTok, I see this. So many people do not understand the Raven situation. Like, so many people are getting it wrong. People are literally commenting being like, oh, Carrington's been cancelled because he SA'd someone. No, Jake Webber, Johnny Gilbert and Carrington, none of them essayed anyone. Raven literally did not say that at all. And I knew this would be an issue with Raven bringing up their names in a video talking about essay allegations, because people who don't watch the full video are just going to be like, or don't even watch the video and just hear all the rumors, are going to be like, oh my god, they essayed Raven. That's not what it was at all. It is completely inaccurate, and I think it was probably a bit of a danger of Raven talking about them in the same video, them talking about being raped and stuff. Like, people don't watch it properly. Like I said, I'm just going to run with the idea and the concept that it was them that done that to Raven when it's not. Raven was raped after Johnny Gilbert's Halloween party, allegedly, not by the three guys. So if people are watching this video, let me just touch on the situation again, because people seem to be a bit confused about it still. And I know the situation's a lot, like a lot did happen, but I mean, I can break it down into a few minutes for you guys just so you guys can be refreshed on what exactly is going on. There's a lot of misinformation people are showing out there about it. So the main issue with Jake Webber, Johnny Gilbert and Carrington was what Raven was saying, is that they were ignoring Raven when they were reaching out. Raven was trying to get some more information about what happened to them at the party, about what happened to them after the party, and apparently they were being ignored, and that's what people were mainly annoyed about with Jake Webber and Johnny Gilbert and Carrington. They were ignoring Raven, and Raven claimed that they were allegedly roofied at Johnny Gilbert's Halloween party. But I think they're probably just saying this to try and justify their behaviour, because they're like blackout drunk, really embarrassing themselves, and Jake Webber even had to call security on them multiple times to get them out of the party, but they kept coming back. Jake Webber literally made a tweet about this, saying that Raven was uninvited to the party and they just showed up and were making everyone feel really uncomfortable. So, you know, it kind of makes sense that Raven would be like, oh, I was roofied, that's why, that's not actually me. But the weird thing is, if you look at a lot of Raven's TikTok videos, as soon as they have a few drinks, they do get quite crazy. So I think it's a bit obvious that they probably just had a few drinks, went to the party, got drunk and started acting crazy and feel embarrassed about it. So they're going to say, oh, I was roofied now. But that's just my take, could be completely wrong. But that is literally what Raven said themselves in one of the clips. They were allegedly roofied, and that's why they're acting out. So I'm going to play a short clip of that right here for you guys.
I've been going in a downward spiral ever since October because I went to an influencer party. To be specific, I went to Johnny Gilbert's Halloween party, and at this party I got extremely inebriated. I believe that I got roofied. They still want to debate whether or not that happened or not, but even so, doesn't fucking matter. I left alone without my phone. They watched me leave alone without my phone, and I ended up getting somehow picked up by two strange men and kidnapped and raped and ended up in front of my adoptive parents' house. And I was crashing out in front of their house and screaming horrible things at them, so they called the cops. Cops didn't come until I ran up the hill and found somebody driving in their car and was like, hey, I don't know what happened. I'm like, I didn't even understand what was going on because I was so out of it. But yeah, I ended up going home in a cop car that morning. It was the first time I've ever been in a cop car. And then they filed a restraining order against me, which they won. So I have a restraining order against me for 5 years, which is really, really crazy. It's just infuriating, and I'm looked at like I'm a crazy bitch because apparently when I was that inebriated that night, I was acting like a psychopath to all these influencers there, and I was fangirling and shit, and like that's just not who I am. I don't fangirl over people like that. I couldn't give a fuck less of like how famous you are. Like that's just not who I am. And anyways, that's what's been eating me alive for months.
So as you can see in that clip, Raven was allegedly picked up by 2 guys after the party and was raped. But that's nothing to do with Jake Robert, Johnny Gilbert and Carrington. That did not happen at the party. That was nothing to do with them. That happened separately after the party. The only thing Carrington is potentially guilty of is just ignoring Raven when Raven was trying to reach out to Carrington for information. And I guess being a bad friend, but then was Carrington even really good friends with Raven? I don't know. Raven seems like the kind of person who Carrington is nice to them. They just assume they're besties when they're not, you know? And people who have seen me covering this situation have probably noticed that my tone has changed a little bit, because the more I looked into this situation, the more Raven was acting on TikTok, the more Raven was low-key changing their stories a little bit. I don't think we can be as hard on Carrington. Now, I'm sure something really bad happened to Raven. Regardless of what's happened, even if Raven did lie about all of this, like there's clearly some mental health issues they need to go and figure out. I don't think Carrington is to blame for this at all. I mean, if you're in Carrington's shoes, you'd have just seen Raven break into the house party, start acting crazy, and then Raven was trying to reach out to them all the time after the party, and they're like, oh, who's this mad person? I don't want to be associated with them. Like, did you see what they done at the party? Right? So it kind of makes sense why the guys were off with Raven and were ignoring Raven, because they probably just thought it was some, you know, they're just going to cause drama again. That's all they seem to do. And they had no idea of the allegations that Raven was making and the reason why they're reaching out to them, I assume. They had no idea of the severity of why Raven was reaching out. And as soon as they did, they cleared out of Raven. Like, you know, Jake Webb invited Raven around his house, they sorted it out. Johnny Gilbert made a tweet about it, sorted it out with Raven. Carrington was the only one who kind of just went quiet, done like a half-assed tweet about the situation and just left it. And that's where people fell out of Carrington and kind of cancelled him. That's why a lot of people started not to like Carrington. What probably happened to Carrington was already talking about that he was kind of like over social media anyway. And I think this whole situation probably just like was the last straw, so to speak, for Carrington. And he's just like, I'm so over social media now. Like, what other persons are going to try and cancel me next month, next week for doing nothing? You know, and I think Carrington was just over the whole thing. He's like, I'm just going to leave this. I'm off. Bye. I'm moving in with Chase. I'm gonna move in to music studios. I'm off to Japan now, filming music. I'm gonna just focus on that. I don't care about this whole influencer nonsense anymore. That's what I think's happened. And this is where we are currently at with Carrington. He's in Japan just focusing on his music, and he's not really an influencer anymore, even though he does little things here and there. So bottom line, Carrington did not SA anyone. Carrington did not rape anyone. And nobody has proof of any of this going on at all. There's no proof of anything. Everything is all alleged. Everything Raven said is alleged. There's no proof of any of it. So we all just need to be mindful of that. It's all just allegations, and don't send any hate to anyone involved. That's that. So that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to say the update that Carrington is living his life, focusing on making music, and he's currently in Japan. Let me know down below what are your thoughts and everything going on. Let's have a kiki, let's have a chit chat. And that's it for this video, guys. So like and subscribe to my channel for more of me. You want to be. Hit the bell notification to be notified and pop up on your screen with a new video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.